de los creadores de The Witcher, que es uno de mis juegos favoritos de toda mi vida, fueron los que crearon este juego. Entonces el juego a mí en lo personal me tiene bien hypeado.
Hey, I'm Lucy. I am GameSpot's resident vampire enjoyer, whatever that means. I recently went to LA to see a hands-off presentation of the Blood of Dawnwalker, which is a game from Rebel Wolves. You might recognize a lot of those names and faces because they did work on The Witcher 3, and they formed a brand new studio, and this is their game. It is about a Dawnwalker, a blade type half vampire who can walk around in the day as well at night, and they have to stop an evil clique or coven of vampires.
¿Será que este es el primer juego de vampiro que a mí me va a encantar? Bueno, chucha madre, es que si esto es como The Witcher pero de vampiro, yo me voy a volver loco ahora.
As I mentioned, Cohen has 30 days and nights to save his family, and so there is an in-world clock. It is not one-to-one with real time.
Eso exacto, eso fue lo que yo escuché, que supuestamente como la historia del juego, en teoría tú tienes 30 días para salvar a tu familia, como que dentro del juego hay un reloj que te da obviamente esos 30 días para terminar el juego. Hay misiones que puedes hacer o no puedes hacer, o hay algunas que no te da el tiempo de hacer. O sea, estos manes están inventando como una vaina nueva que nunca se ha visto en este juego con ese tema del tiempo.
But if you are kind of exploring anything, time doesn't move forward then, but it moves forward when you undertake certain missions. So in the UI on the side, it'll say, however many days left to save your family, and it'll show you what the day ahead looks like in terms of how long you've got left, and if you pick, and it'll...
Esta animación que acabamos de ver, para el man pasar de techo a techo, que el man como que se hace humo negro y que y después aparece. Esa animación estaba en el juego que yo les hablé ayer de vampiro, que era como un Battle Royale, y que el juego simplemente dijeron que ya iban a dejar de actualizarlo y que el proyecto había terminado.
I think that is really cool. I also kind of panic a little bit because I really enjoy in an open world game just kind of doing everything. And the way that it seems that the Blood of Dawnwalker is set up is that it is supposed to encourage replayability. There are a lot of different choices you can make, decisions. You could accidentally kill someone who might be important to you, and so you might not even encounter certain characters in a playthrough. That is very exciting to me. But at the same time, I kind of have that like anxious energy where it's like, oh my God, time is running out. I won't be able to get to do everything.
O sea que esto, con este sistema que tienen, lo que ella está diciendo es que probablemente lo que te pase es que vas a querer jugar el juego varias veces, porque cada vez que lo juegues va a ser una historia diferente. Cada vez que tú pases el juego va a ser una historia diferente. Eso está a otro nivel.
However, one thing I did actually really enjoy is the gameplay options that were showcased. So,
¿cuáles fueron?
Cohen, during the day, I was kind of worried about this. I was worried that
human
Cohen would be kind of boring to play as. He would just be, what, a dude with a sword? No, he is a dude with a sword who can also do magic, and he has runes carved into his hand, and so he has pocket sand, essentially. But he can also cast certain hexes in battle, so there's one where...
Como Geralt de Rivia, papá, como The Witcher, tú puedes tirar hechizo y todo.
He basically made a guy's blood boil inside of him, and he can also talk to the dead, which has really cool gameplay implications. So we saw when he was investigating something for the main mission that he was following, there was no one around to ask. However, there was a dead corpse of something, and he questioned it, and that was, you can kind of compel them to answer, kind of using brute force a little bit, or like the force of the mind, but you can also find items that belong to the body that will connect them back to their humanity a little bit and make them remember and make them want to talk to you, which I thought was a really cool mechanic. So, yes, human Cohen, not gonna be as powerful. For example, he has a stamina bar. Yes, human Cohen, not gonna be as powerful. For example, he has a stamina bar, so he gets tired. He needs to eat to replenish his health. However, he does have magic, so he's got that going for him.
Comedera de jeta y mordedera de cuello. Eso es lo que queremos.
Vampire Cohen, there was so much cool stuff in there. So for example, this is not in the final game, but they were toying with the fact that if you're a vampire, you wouldn't be allowed in certain areas if you weren't invited. But obviously, the gameplay, they got rid of that. However, what he can do is he has these giant claws that he can slash with. He can also use a sword.
Como Wolverine.
He's not going to lose that ability.
Como el mismo Wolverine,
papa. You kind of have the scrappy, more animalistic fighting with your claws. Instead of eating, you obviously have to drink from people. You can do that in the middle of battle, or you can kind of skulk around. And if you don't drink enough blood, you basically go mad and have a bloodlust and just kind of go after anyone who's near you, which I thought was pretty cool. Kurt just asked me, does he sleep? That was literally the first question that I asked. No, he doesn't need to sleep, because during the day, He's human, and then he undergoes the transformation to become a vampire, and so he doesn't really have time to sleep because he also has to save his family. He can also walk on walls.
Eso está a otro fucking nivel.
Dishonored 2, the far reach ability.
Eso de trepar la pared así
teleport that's like that.
Y teletransportarse está a otro nivel.
Vampire appropriate things. Also, I thought the way that you make vampires in this game is really cool and unique. You basically have to take the tooth out of a vampire and stab it in your heart, and that's what turns you into a vampire, which I just thought was neat.
Brutal,
so like I said, this was a
brutal.
hands-off demo, did not get to play it, so I can't speak to how the game controls, but what we did get to see was the same mission approached from two very, very different angles. The mission was to find the Sword of Mihai, who is a saint in the region, and basically doing a little bit of detective work to figure out where the sword is and how to get to it. So human Cohen was asking...
Ya que se ve como The Witcher, loco. Nada más que obviamente con muchas mejores gráficas, pero parece un The Witcher, loco.
Around, talking to people, eventually ending up underground in a weird crypt thing with perhaps a creature
vampiro,
you may or may not have to take out. Whereas Vampire Cohen is doing a lot more sleuthing. He is breaking into places, he is walking up walls and teleporting through windows and skulking in the shadows and in the rafters at the same time to uncover the same information. So it's two very different paths. And this kind of brings me back to my anxiety of wanting to see and experience everything because both paths were really cool. And I was really glad that I got to see both of them play out. But in my gameplay, I'm gonna maybe have a little bit of choice paralysis. But I think that's a good thing. It does encourage me to play it again. And then, like I said, because I didn't play it, the stuff I can't really speak to, I can't tell you how combat feels. There's a whole adaptive combat mechanics and different ways to approach sword gameplay. I'm just excited about this game. Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. Like I said, this really scratches the itch. However, in leaning into vampires and taking cool pieces from vampire lore, having branching storylines, having, a clique of vampires, each with their own different unique personality types. So you've got, like Lady Xanthe, who's the oldest vampire. Then you have a guy who, let's call a spade, he looks a lot like Lestat. And then you have another one who's from the Mongolian Empire. I really want to see and get to know them, their reputation system. There is so much that they're packing into this game, and I just want to see more of it. So sorry if that wasn't like a, hey, here's how this game plays thing. This is more of just a, game looks cool, man.
Esas cinemáticas tienen ese flow de The Witcher, igualitas, loco. Sí, cuando reaccionamos aquí al tráiler, yo dije, chucha, esto es como ver un tráiler de The Witcher. Pero es que hay muchos de los creadores que tuvieron en The Witcher 3 que se abrieron, es lo que entendí por ella, se abrieron del parche y abrieron una empresa nueva y entonces crearon este juego. Este juego a mí me va a gustar, ahora. Yo estoy seguro que me va a gustar. Pero ¿cuándo sale? 2075.
I'm excited to see more. Anyway, so that's what I saw in the Blood of Dawnwalker presentation. We at Gamescom, and hopefully we'll get to see more of the game soon. Keep it GameSpot.